Here is October 10th. October, no, what? 10/13, October 13th. It's trading day. Um, this last week, or actually the start of this week, kind of a rough psychology day. Well, we traded the Express here and actually blew it, matter in fact. Honestly, I didn't even want to make this video complete transparency. I did not want to make this video, but because like who wants to say all the wrong they did in trading? But I mean, the whole point is just to document it all. So one day I'll look back and probably laugh at it. But anyway, we had traded this thing, usually Asia, like low volatility, so like prices are never good. So I slapped two contracts on, and I was so confused when I move take profit to like round here. I moved it right here, and it was already like 10,000, and I was so confused why it was like that. But after learning why, I'm gonna start locking out the account during that time, so I'll set a custom lockout. But back for today's, we really didn't see any targets to move downwards besides this little small gap. So I marked out that small gap. And then we had these targets, of course. I take it it'll probably take a week of price action to even rebalance itself if it does due to all the news and yeah, tariffs. But anyways, as I said, it wasn't the best start, especially after tanking those two losses on the Express. It definitely affected this trading day because it was the day before, so it was yesterday that happened, and it made me go on tilt for this day too, and I kind of felt it coming in market open, where my psychology errors were. Um, so yeah, it definitely affected it. We already went over our journal for all these trades. So per six trades, I went over a journal per the six trades, entry, exit, duration, the whys, etc., including for this as well. So we already looked over these issues, so we know the core reasons, and it all kind of originated from that loss on the Express. So yes, that's getting a fix. And I think the thing with trading, how it's so different from like any other job is, say any other job you're working, you're guaranteed a wage, or you're guaranteed a paycheck for X amount of hours you put in, right? Or say you don't put in any hours, you don't even get paid. Cool. But trading's the only one where you can put X amount of hours, not get paid, and also get money taken from you to put you in a worse position than you were before. And you can't have any emotion towards it at all. You can only take it as a learning lesson. So that's why it differs so much, I think, and why psychology is everything in it, because everything in here is the complete opposite of what you originally look at life. So you look at life, different losses, or anything in general, and it's so much different on the chart because it's almost the complete opposite. So you have to rewire your brain completely. So I wasn't really at all mad or anything at blowing it. I wasn't mad. I wasn't really had any emotion towards it. I was more so like sondering. I don't know the complete definition, but it sounds like the word you use. It was in a deep, reflective state of my being in psychology. I think that's the best way to put it. But we'll get into the video. It's already been like what, 5 minutes? So coming in market open, we do trade market open. I was bullish. I didn't really see this gap until afterwards of this. So this became the new target. So I was bullish at first. I shorted around here or longed around here. Yeah. We were in profit for a little bit right here. And then we ended up losing that one. So there's that. If I would have had this target marked out, I'm like 9 times out of 10, that would have been so much better. And we would have had more of an idea. But again, that is such a small one. It wasn't until after I went back to look at any possible target is then where I saw it. So, and then we had a second trade right after that one. Let's see here. Our second trade was a short. And I mean, again, so it was a bad psychology day. Open and honest about that, of course. We had created this 5 minute fair value gap while coming down. And then on top of that, we had a doji, which I use it for my system a bit, just as a confluence and supplement, not as a complete, this is what we're going to do. But especially if we make a 5 minute fair value gap while coming down, and then you have a doji fighting over price, it's pretty prominent for a reversal. But when you're in a bad headspace, you seem to ignore clear signs that you would normally, oh, okay, well, we're bearish, we tapped in somewhere over here. Sometimes it doesn't completely go into them. We had to create a 5 minute, oh, we had a doji as well. Oh, we're going long, right? Not the case. Usually might be the case when we're good, but end up losing that one as well. And the losing trades usually last around 2 minutes. I'm seeing it consistently around 2 minutes and 15 seconds all the way to 3 minutes and 50 seconds is usually the range. So they don't last very long. Then average winning trades around anywhere from 3 minutes to 20 minutes. All right, and then our third trade, we longed it right here. Pretty sure the entry was about right here. No, it was about, it's pretty close to this. It was about right here. Because then we had our stops pretty close to this thing right here. Then it was we're aiming for this also. There was a 5 minute gap right here. Yeah, it was right here. Again, we had small targets for today. Volatility's been off, so these small targets maybe not used for some, but definitely gives a sign. So I was in a little bit better of a headspace on this trade. So on the third one, I was. It doesn't take 2 losses to get 1 win, which is the big takeaway of almost losses in general for us. But we took this long. Our original target was right here, but for some reason I was in a way better headspace. So I saw this doji. It's kind of just like top ticking, bottom ticking. I just call it what the candle's called. And then, yeah, the resistance on it wasn't very good. I mean, the wicks kind of just tell a story of how it was. You know, if we're on an uprise, I'd rather see good resistance because that's what trends follow. So I exited around here at this candle close, and that trade was for 1970, 1970. So we recovered back the loss and we're in profit. Not to the full profit target, so we're trying to get to that. So again, we read the wrong signs. Like, oh, well, it's mid-trend, so usually I don't count these as reversal, but it's pretty prominent and it's kind of clear. But anyway, we took this long right here afterwards, somewhere around here it was. Yeah, because our stops are at this candle bottom. This is pretty short. It was just like 300 profit, like 600 profit. That didn't hit. That was last 310 on that one. That lasted 3 minutes and 40 seconds. I would almost say that's the longest one. And then kind of snapped back into it after that, right? So now we're down X amounts. And at this point, I was really ready for the trading day to be over, to be honest. Then we took this short from right here to here. So we had a target. It was like it was a fair value gap down here. Where was it at? Somewhere in here. Yeah, we had our target over here. Can't remember what time frame I marked it on, but that was the last and final trade. And that one was for 925, 3 minutes and 42 seconds. When I wrote down all 5 trades: the loss, short or long, the duration, and the whys. What was my headspace like during, after, and my thought process. And the wrap up key for today, the biggest downfall definitely was the Express messing with us after having that loss. I wasn't mad or anything. I was just reflecting and thinking too deep into it. Like I have a pretty structured and pretty well disciplined schedule for training and just in general for life. And when I fall off just a bit on it, that's when I notice it reflected all over these charts. So I would say that is the number one core root reason we found into why it was a bit rough than usual and how it's been, especially. The Express was probably our best one yet, psychology wise, and trading wise, and role wise. And we fell off just a bit with our discipline. And yeah, clearly it showed. I would have never in a million years, and I have never, from learning and doing trading, I would have never traded this part right here. Like, this is probably the worst possible place in the worst time you can possibly trade, at least for me. And I traded anyways. I didn't even think, because usually I have a routine pre trading. And that routine really has helped me and really does help with trading as a whole, from psychology and following my rule system and the process of it and having patience. And think about it, it's a Sunday at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock here. I would have never taken that trade ever. This one was already down, and then that low discipline led for me to lose and trade in a time I would never and have never traded ever. And yeah, it allowed me to ignore clear, obvious signs of what are you doing, and did it anyway. So that was kind of the core reason and the takeaway for kind of the start of this weekend. This week, journaling definitely has helped. I mean, it's not going to do everything for you, obviously. You have to do it your own, but it kind of helps gather and realize. So you're not like stuck wondering on why you lose or anything, but that's today's recap. We ended up ending it off on 1.9, 1.496 profit, but I'm not really even, I don't really care about the profit for today or the wins for today or these 2 trades for today. I'm honestly never concerned about my wins. Obviously, I'll take account like, yeah, that was a good trade. We follow our rules. Like, what do you expect? I'm more so always focused, and I'm not saying focused on losses as in I'm emotional over them, but I'm focused on the losses. How are they preventable? If it's a system loss, then it's just your system balancing out. But if it's a loss we intentionally like broke rules over, then I pay close attention to those and take mass amounts of reflection on those. So those were today's 5 trades. I guess now we're documenting a trading combine. So, yeah, should be interesting. And then today also allowed us to upgrade our system a bit. So, really just exits. The exits were if we create a fair value gap below or above us if we're in a short or long, and a doji is formed and resistance starts to fail, then we exit. So, kind of just like this. I'd even initially know this in the time, but I exited right here on this. So it kind of demonstrates the system in matter. So yeah, that's today's recap. 10-13-25.